Brendan!
Jack?
Brendan. What's with the Guinness?
I don't know. It's the power in the tap. It's a new barrel and everything.
Is the harp one okay?
Yep.
Well, would you not switch them around, let a man have a pint of stout? No.
What about the harp drinkers?
The harp drinkers?
Your man's coming to do it in the morning. Have a bottle.
I'm having a bottle. I'm not happy about it now, mind, right? But like...
Go on out of that.
What the hell? Good for the worms, huh?
I'd say you have a right couple of worms, all right. That's some wind, isn't it?
It is.
Must have been against you, was it?
It was against me till I came around the knock. It was a bit of shelter then.
Yeah. It's a funny one. It's coming from the north.
It's mild enough, though.
Ah, yeah. It's balmy enough. It's balmy enough.
Were you in Carrick today?
I wasn't, no. I had the sisters over, doing their rounds, checking up on me.
Checking up on their investments, what?
Oh, yeah. Of course, they don't have a fucking clue what they're looking for, do you know? They're just vaguely, you know.
Keeping the pressure on you.
This is it. At me to sell the top field.
Well, you don't use it much.
No, I don't. Too much trouble driving a herd up. But I know they're looking at it. All they see is new cars for their hobbies, you know.
You're not just trying to spite them. Get them vexed, huh?
Not at all. I'm just... It's a grand spot up there. I don't know, just...
Were they over the whole day?
They got here about 2. Gone for lunch in the Arms. Got their stories straight. They were gone and all about 4:30.
They've no attachment to the place, no?
No, they don't. They look around and it's... Oh, yeah. You know. It's gas. Were you in Carrick yourself?
I was. I flew in about 11, threw on a fast bet. Jimmy was there. We went for a quick one in the pot.
How's he? And the man?
Jimmy. Be in tonight. Put me onto a nice one. We got her at 11-4.
You're learning to listen, huh?
Fuck that, sure I know, but I've been having the worst run of shit you wouldn't believe. I was that desperate, I'd listen to anybody.
Go on out of that.
No, fair dues, I'll say it. He got us a right one, and it's good, you know, to break a streak like that.
You're a user.
There's worse.
Yeah, there might be.
But he was telling me, did you know about Maura Nealon's house?
No.
Well, Jim says that he met Finbar Mac down in the Spar, and finally either he sold or is renting the thing. After how many years is it sat there?
Jeez, 4 or 5 in anyway.
Well, Jim says 5 this month, and Finbar is going bananas with the great fella that he is, patting himself on the back goodo and talking about the new resident, who he says is a fine girl, single, down from Dublin and all this. And Finbar is nearly leaving the wife just to have a chance with this one. Only messing like, you know. But he's bringing her in here tonight. Nearest place to old Maura's. Bringing her in for a drink. Introduce her to the natives.
The dirty bastard. I don't want him in here using. That sort of carry on. A married man like him.
He's only old shit. He wouldn't have the nerve. Sure, how far would he get anyway? The fucking head on him. No, he's only having a little thrill. Bringing her around. And I tell you what it is as well. He's coming in here with her, and he is the one. He is the one that's with her in whatever fucking sense we're talking about. He's bringing her in. And there's you and me and the Jimmy fella, the Mugginses, the single fellas, and he's the married fella. And he's going, look at this. Oh, there's obviously something the fuck wrong with yous. I mean, yous are single. You couldn't get a woman near this place. And look at me. I'm hitched. I'm over and done with, and I'm having to bait them off.
Yeah, that's the way Egypts always go about their business. It's intrusive. It's bad manners.
It's juvenile. Carry on. I mean, let her come in herself.
Yeah, that'd be better. Make more sense, for fuck's sake.
Leave her be. Now, give us 10 silk cut, please, Brendan.
Red?
Please. Good man. Are we right?
Close enough. Cheers.
Cheers. Now, I know I do be at you, and I'll keep at you, though.
About what?
Don't be messing now, come on. Young fella like you, and this place, a right-going concern.
The odd time, you know. The odd time, I'd think about it.
Well, you should, though.
Well, then so should you.
Would you go on, an old fella like me?
Would you listen to him?
What would I want, giving up my freedom?
Well, then, me as well.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe there's something to be said for the old independence.
There is.
A lot to be said for it. Cheers.
Good luck.
Oh, yes, Brendan, the luck is changing. I got me and the Jimmy fella onto a nice one today. That fella would want to listen to me a bit more often, I tell you.
I'm going to have to start charging you for tips, am I?
James, what'll you have?
Teach you some manners. Teach him some manners, Brendan, huh? Small one, please, Jack.
Small one.
Jeez, did it take more than money to put manners on me, huh, Brendan?
It'd take a bomb under you.
Well, now you said it. Bomb is right. Is that wind still up, Jim?
Oh, it is, yeah. Warm enough, though.
Yeah, we were just saying.
For a northerly.
Oh, that's from the west now.
Huh?
Is it?
Yeah, that's a westerly.
Well, jeez, it must have shifted.
Thanking you.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Now, are we right?
Now we are. Sure, it's hard enough come by without giving it away.
Well, this is it. Are you doing anything tomorrow, Jim?
What time?
Well, I have to get over to Conor Boland. His tractor is bollocksed. And I have Father Donald's jalopy in since Tuesday. I said I'd change the oil for him, and I haven't done it yet. Would you ever come in and do it for me, so I can get over to Boland's?
It'll have to be early. I'm dropping the mother out to Sligo.
Well, whatever. Is that all right?
It should be, yeah. Pint.
Enough at the moment. No, you go ahead.
Pint, please, Brendan. You want the bottles?
It's medicinal.
Huh?
The tap is fucked.
I was wondering, Jesus, what your man fucking doing now, you know?
Yeah. He'd be the fella would have a figari. Be only drinking bottles from now on. He would. You would. Be you to a fucking tea. You want a bottle?
No, I don't.
Pint of harp.
Just a glass.
How is the mammy today, Jim?
You know.
Yeah, I must get down and see her. I keep saying it.
Well, whenever. Whenever you want.
Do you think you'll do anything?
About?
About up there on your own and all that.
So where would I go? And I was talking to Finbar Mac. Be looking to get 20,000 for the place. So where would you be going with that? You know.
With the acre?
Yeah, with the whole thing.
You'd be grand with a few little jobs around here. You'd be cosy enough.
Jack was telling me about Finbar and the new...
Yeah, I was telling him earlier.
I was telling him.
I've seen her since.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. They were in Finbar's car going up the head.
Fucking hell.
Like a courting couple or something.
He's showing her the area.
Jesus, the area. He's a terrible fucking tick.
Yeah, he has them all jabbering down in Carrick.
What the fuck is he doing, you know?
She's... Sure, this is the only place near to her.
Sure, he hasn't been in here for years.
She can find her own way, surely, Jim. Come on.
Well, it's... You know, if it's courtesy, which is one thing, and a business act, or whatever, you have to say, well, okay, and, you know. But if it's all messy, I'm trapped in here behind this fucking thing. You'd wish he'd stop acting the mess. I have to respect
well, this
whatever.
Is it. We are here.
It's probably not really anything.
What age would she be about, Jim?
I only saw her for a sec. Like, they were in the car and all. I'd say about 30s. Very nice looking.
Dublin woman.
Dublin.
She's no one in the area, no.
No, she's coming down, you know.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Cheers.
Good luck, boys.
Another week or two now you'll be seeing the first of the Germans.
Stretch in the evening, yep.
You still wouldn't think about clearing one of them fields for a few caravans. The top field.
There wouldn't be a lot of shelter up there, Jack. There'd be a wind up there that'd cut you.
Do you know what you could do? The herd will be grand up there, and you could, down here.
The Germans. They do be around anyway, you know yourself.
They do.
If you had all the families out there on their holliers, all the kids and all, you'd feel the evenings turning when they'd be leaving. And whatever about how quiet it is now, it'd be fucking shocking quiet then. You know.
Do you want a small one, Jack?
Go on.
2 small ones, please, Brendan.
The small fellows.
You have one yourself.
I'm debating whether to have one.
Have one, and don't be acting the mess.
Go on then.
Good, look. A few shekels, what? Jim, cigarette.
Cheers, Jack.
And, Brendan.
Fags and all, huh?
Go on, they're good for you.
Go on then.
Keep the chill out.
Well, this is it. Cheers.
Good luck. Good luck. Is here a car? No. That's Finbar's car. He's parked.
I didn't see the lights.
He came round the knock.
Oh, yeah, sure. Half the townland used to nearly live in here.
Well, there we are now.
That's it now. Men, this is Valerie. She just moved into Mara Neelan's old house.
Hello, how are you?
Hello.
Jack Mullen has a little garage up around the knock there.
No.
This is Jim Curran, does a bit of work with Jack.
Pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you.
And this is Brendan. Brendan Byrne.
Hello.
How are you?
This is his bar. And all the land I showed you, back down the hill, that's all his farm.
Oh, right. It's all lovely here.
Oh, yeah, it's a grand spot. All along. For going for a walk or that. All down the cliffs.
Ah, yeah. It's lovely all around here. What'll you have?
Oh, I'll get these, Finbar. No, what do ye want?
Oh, no. Ha ha. I'll have a pint then. What says you if it's going? Harp, please, Brendan. Jack?
Finbar.
What would you like, Valerie?
Do you have a glass of white wine?
Yep. I'm just going to run into the house.
Oh, no, don't. Don't put yourself to any trouble.
No, it's no trouble. I have a bottle.
He probably has a bottle of the old vino from feckin' Christmas, huh?
No, it's not too often that the wine does be flowing in here, you know.
Oh, I'm all embarrassed now.
Don't worry about it. Sit over there now. Don't mind us. Don't mind these country fellas.
Jesus, you're not long out of it yourself, says the man, huh?
They're only jealous, Valerie, because I went to the town to seek my fortune and they all stayed out here on the bog, picking their holes.
Jane, now, huh? You didn't have very far to seek. Just a quick look in Big Finbar's will. I think is more like it.
Big Finbar's will. That's shrewd investment, boy. That's an eye for the gap.
Yeah, he probably fleeced you on Maura Neelan's house, did he, Valerie?
I have to say, I don't think so.
Good girl.
But it's very reasonable all around here, isn't it?
Oh, it is, yeah. You know.
Is there much doing up on it?
Hardly any.
1 or 2 floorboards, bit of paint.
Well, if you're looking for a good pair of hands, this is your man.
Is that right?
I'll have a look for you if you like. I know that house.
Don't be charging her through the nose now.
I know.
You want to be giving her a neighbourly rate now is the thing, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Now, would you listen to that? Neighbourly rates. It wasn't by giving neighbourly rates that he bought half the fucking town.
Oh, half the town? I bought the whole town. Eye for the gap, you see.
Yeah, I fear your gap is right.
How long has that bottle been in there? Lying in some drawer?
It was a present for some 1995. No. Vintage. I hope it's all right now.
It's grand. Oh, no, the difference.
I think it's all right.
Would you give the woman the feckin' thing, the tongue hanging out of her?
Thanks, Brendan. Well, that's gorgeous. I'm not joking, though. That's lovely.
Good.
I'm putting it in the fridge for you, Valerie.
Now, what'll anyone have? Jim?
A small one then, thanks, Finbar.
Jack? Small one? Pint? Bottle? Are you on the bottles?
I know the tap is fucking...
Oh, typical.
I'll go on, I'll have a small one.
Good man. 3 small ones, Brendan, please.
3 small ones.
Good man. Are you having one?
I'm debating whether to have one.
I'll have one. Go on, Brendan. Who knows when the hell you get another drink off the Finbar fella. Come on, quick. He's all annoyed you're having one.
Would you listen to him?
Oh, that fella would peel a banana in his pocket.
Is that what it is?
First time I've been in here for ages. Bringing nice company in and everything and getting this. You'd have to watch that Jimmy fella. There's more going on there than he lets on. Huh? And look, Valerie, me buying the drinks and everything like a feckin' Aegis. It's not right, so it is. What do you think, Valerie?
It's terrible.
It's shocking, so it is. There you are now, Brendan. I wouldn't say you'd see too many 20s in here with the boys. Wouldn't be too often, I'd say. Cheers, boys.
Brendan, check that. Cheers.
Good luck.
Good luck now.
Cheers.
How did you put up with this fella showing you around, huh?
Oh, he was a bit quieter today.
Well, you've seen the real him now, and I bet you prefer the other one because we've never seen it. The quiet Finbar. You know, this one comes out at night, you see.
Well, I was getting the history of the place and everything today.
The history of the place, huh?
Well, there is. There's the Weir now, Valerie.
Oh, right.
When was that taken, Brendan?
That's 1951.
1951. The Weir, the river, Weir is for regulating the water, for generating power for the area, and for Carrick as well. That's your father there, Brendan.
Yeah. I think your dad's in it too.
Oh, he is. Look at this now, Valerie. That's Big Finbar now. And that's Brendan's father. That's Paddy Byrne. This is when the ESB opened it. Oh, big thing around here, Brendan.
Oh, yeah.
You look like your father. You don't.
Oh, he's like his mother. He's like the Mangans. Now, Valerie, who would you say that is there in the shorts?
Is it you?
What you go on? The big fucking head on that yoke. Excuse the language. That's Jack.
Oh, my God. How old were you there, Jack?
I was about 7.
Oh, I wouldn't have said that was you.
You must be joking. You'd spot that big mutton head anywhere. The photographer nearly had to ask him to go home. There wasn't going to be room in the picture. Not right, Jack?
Oh, that's right, Finbar, yes. And your dad, I think, nearly climbing into the camera there, what?
Valerie, Big Finbar was a pillar of the community. No one had anything against him. Except headers like your man there.
That is correct, Finbar. And I'm just going in here now, lads, to do something up against the pillar of the community.
Oh, Jesus. He's a desperate fella, that one.
Where was this taken?
That's the view of Carrick from our top field up there.
It's an amazing view.
Oh, I'd say that's probably one of the best views all around here, wouldn't it be?
Oh, yeah, I'd say so.
Oh, yeah, it would be, yeah.
We get all the Germans trekking up here in the summer, Valerie, up from the campsite.
All right.
They do come up. This would be the scenic part of all around here. What's this? There's stories all. The fairies be up in that field. Isn't there a fort up there?
There's a kind of a one.
A fairy fort?
Oh, the Germans love all this.
Well, there's a ring of trees, you know.
What was the story about the fairy road? Who used to tell it?
Jack could tell you all them stories.
You get all this all around here, Valerie. The area's steeped in old folklore and that. You know.
Jack could know You'd know a few, Jim.
Jack could tell you better than me.
There's the abbey there now.
Oh, yeah.
You see more of it there. Now, what was there, Brendan? When was that?
Oh, back in 15-something, there was a synod of bishops all came and met there for,
Well, this townland used to be quite important back a few hundred years ago, Valerie. This was like the capital of the county, it would have been.
Oh, right.
Oh, it's a very interesting place, all. Jack, we were just saying, what was the story with the ferry road?
The ferry road. I go into the toilet for 2 minutes. I cannot leave yous alone for 2 minutes.
I was just telling Valerie there all about the fort and all this. What was the story with the ferry road? Where was it?
Are you really interested, huh? All the babies.
Come on, it's only a bit of fun. Tell her, where was it?
Well, now, you're going to regret me saying this, but you know whose house it was?
Whose?
It was Maura Nealon's house.
Oh, jeez.
You see?
I fucking forgot it was Morris.
That's as much cop as you have now. These are only old stories, Valerie.
No, I'd like to hear it.
No, it's only an old cod.
Now, don't go scaring the woman now.
That's not scary.
No, really, I'm interested in it.
You hear all old shit all around here. It doesn't mean anything.
this is a good little story.
Well, it's only short. It's just that Maura Nealon used to come in here in the evenings and sit over there by the fire. How old was she, Jim, when she died?
Yeah, she must have been nearly 90.
Yeah, but she was the grand, sprightly kind of woman to the end. And she had all her, she was on the ball, and she swore that this happened when she was only a child. Now, she lived in that house all her life. And she had older brothers and sisters. She was the youngest. And her mother, Bridie, that's right, yeah. She was a well-known woman in the area, She was a widow woman, a bit of a character, a bit of a practical joker and that. And Maura would say that when she was young, Bridie was, always doing things on the older kids, hiding their clothes or that. And she'd always be telling them old fibs about what a certain prospective boyfriend or girlfriend had said about them out on the road about coming courting or that. And she was always shouting from upstairs or this, there's someone at the door. She was always saying, someone at the back door, someone coming up the path, this. And of course there'd never be anybody there. And people got used to her that she liked her joke. And Maura would say that one Saturday evening back in about, 1910 or 1911, the older ones were getting ready to go out for a dance or whatever was happening. And Bridie, the mother, she came down the stairs and she said, did no one get the door? And they were all, oh, here we go, Anyway, she came down the stairs, she opened the door, and there was nobody there. And she didn't say anything, and she wasn't making a big fuss about it. But Maura knew, now she was only a child, but she knew there was something wrong because Bridie wasn't cracking the jokes. And later on, when the others were all out, it was just her and her mother sitting at the fire. And the mother was very quiet, And normally now she would send Maura up to bed early enough, But Maura said that she remembered this night because Bridie didn't send her up. She would not let her go to bed. And in those days, Valerie, as you know, there was no electricity round here. And there's no dark like a winter night in the country. And there was a wind like this one tonight, howling and whistling in off the sea. You'd hear it under the door like someone singing in under the door at ya. It was this type of evening now. Am I setting the scene for you, what? God, Finbar is looking a bit edgy. You want to finish that small one, I think.
Never you mind my small one. You're making very heavy weather of this yarn.
Well, you have to enjoy something like this. You have to relish the details. Huh? So anyway, there they were, sitting there. And Bridie was very quiet, looking into the fire and then smiling up at Maura now and then. And then there was a soft knocking at the door. Someone at the front door. And Bridie didn't move, and Maura said, well, I get the door, Mammy. And Bridie said, I know it's only someone playing a joke on us, don't mind them. And they sat there, and there was no more knocking for a while. And in those days, Valerie, there was no kitchen. You know where the extension is now? Well, that was the back door with a little latch on it, and that is where the next knocking came from. Very soft, Maura said, and very low down the door, not up here where you'd expect a grown man or a woman to be knocking. And again, Bridie said, it's only someone playing a joke. They'll go away, and then the knocking was at the window. Now, Maura couldn't see out into the night, and her mother wouldn't let her go over. And then it stopped. And later on, when the fire went down, Brady wouldn't get up to get more turf for the fire because it was outside in the shed, and they sat there till the others came back, well after midnight.
And what was it?
Well, Maura said her mother never told the others, and one day, when it was only the two of them there, a priest came round and blessed all the doors and the windows, and there was no more knocking after that. And it was only years later that Maura heard from one of the older people in the area that the house had been built on what they call a fairy road. Now, it wasn't a road, it was more like, what would you say, Jim?
It was like a row of things.
Yeah, like, from the fort up in Brendan's top field there, then the little well, then the abbey further down, and then into the cove where the little pebbly beach is there. And the legend would be that the fairies would come down that way to bathe. And Maura Nealon's house was built on what they call that road.
And they wanted to come through.
Well, that'd be the idea. But they never heard the knocking again, except, oh yes, one time in the 50s, when the Weir was going up, there was a bit of knocking then, all right, she said. And a fierce load of dead birds, all in the hedge, and all this. But that was it. That's the story.
You're not bothered by that, are you, Valerie? Because it's only old cod, you know. You hear all these all around, up and down the country.
Well, I think there's probably something in them. No, I do.
There could be right enough, but there's no harm in it. A bit of an old story, but I tell you what, it would give you a terrible thirst. What are you having, lads, right? Chop that one up now, Valerie. Go on.
She will. Brendan.
Oh, this glass is fine.
Oh, country ways. Good girl.
Now, Finbar, a pint.
Pints is you. Why not?
And Jim? 1 pint, Brendan, and 2 of these, please.
1 pint. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey, Brendan, are you debating whether to have one yourself?
I'm debating.
Who's winning?
To draw, I'll have a glass.
Good man. Have 2.
Now, Valerie, can I give you a cigarette?
Oh, I will, thanks.
Oh, good girl.
Oh, and, Finbar?
Oh, no, thanks, Jack, I won't. I haven't touched one of them fellas 18 years this November.
18 years?
18 years. Not since I made the move down to Carrick.
I remember this, Jesus. You don't look any the better for it.
Now, we'll see who'd look the better for it after a round or two of the fisty footwork, and you with the lungs hanging out your back.
Jesus. An old fella like me, huh? 10 years or more between us. He wants to give me a few digs. Is that business killer instinct, right?
That's an eye for the gap. Exploit the weakness.
Yeah, the weakness now. Because talking about the fairy road, didn't you have a little run-in with the fairies, or who was it that time before you went, huh?
Jesus, now, Jack.
Because you were the brave fella then, weren't you?
Jack, for fuck's
come on now, you were grand then.
You are a bollocks.
Well, you know, talking about the fairies now, you know.
It wasn't the fairies. It was the Walsh young one having us all on. She was only an old codology.
She's an American now. Niamh Walsh.
Oh, it was Niamh that time, yeah?
She was a header, looking for attention.
What happened?
Oh, this was the brave fella.
Stop now. It was nothing.
Now, this was a family, Valerie, that lived up beside Big Finbar, the Walshes.
They were only blow-ins. He was a guard.
Blow-ins like me.
Oh, no. You know what I mean.
Jesus, you'll be losing business with them kind of remarks. Valerie will agree with me there now.
Valerie knows what I mean. She's very welcome, and she knows that. Don't you now?
Oh, will you leave her alone? You're embarrassing everybody now. Jesus, tell her the story.
Janie, see, you have her in a haunted house already. She'll not be able to sleep.
No, I'd like to hear it.
It's not even a real one.
Well, but she wants to hear one. Tell her, go on, stop moaning.
Just a crowd of headbangers is all it was. There was a house out near where we were, on the other side of the knot there. It would have been the nearest place to us, Valerie, about a quarter of a mile down the road. And the old lad, Finnerty, lived on his own down there, and his people got him into a nursing home out by them near Westport. And the family that moved in were the Walshes. Your man was a sergeant in the guard, stationed in Carrick. Like he was 50-odd and still only a sergeant, you know, so he was no Sherlock Holmes or anything like that, you know what I mean? He wasn't exactly Walsh of the Yard, you know. But anyway, he moved in and he had 3 daughters who were teenagers and a young fella who was married and lived out near Longford there. So the daughters were with him and the missus. And I sort of knew them because that was the year Big Finbar died, God rest him. And they arrived around the time of the funeral, so I met them then, you know. And I was on my own then because there was only myself and Big Finbar in it at that time. So I was the bachelor boy. And a gaggle of young ones after moving in next door. Yo-ho, you know what I mean? And around that time, Valerie, I would have been wondering what to do. Whether to farm it or sell it on or whatever. I was 22, 23. And it would have been around 11 or 12 this night. And there was a knock on the door. And it was Mrs. Walsh. And she was all upset, wondering would I come over. She didn't know what to do. The husband was out at work, out on a call, and she didn't know anyone in the area, and there was a bit of trouble. So, what kind of trouble, I says. And she says, she was after getting a phone call from the young one, Neve, and she was after doing the Luigi board, or whatever you call it.
Ouija board.
A Ouija board.
The Luigi board. She was down in the chip shop in Carrick, was she?
Back off. I meant the Ouija board. You know what I meant. She was after down in a friend of hers house, and she was after... she was... Look, come on now. Listen. She was after being down in a friend of hers house, of this, Valerie, and they were after doing the Ouija board. And she telephoned the mother to come and collect her. She said they were after getting a spirit or this. And she was frightened, saying it was after her. And I obviously just thought this was a load of bollocks, if you'll excuse the language, Valerie. But here was the mother saying that when she went to pick her up, I mean, I'm sorry, but this is all a wee bit mad, but on the way back, they'd seen something. Like the mother had seen it as well. Like a dog on the road, running with the car, running after it. I mean, there's dogs all around here, Valerie. The farmers have them. There was a big dog up there that time that Willie McDermott had, Jack.
Jesus, yeah. I mean, if you saw it in the distance, you'd think it was a little horse. It was huge.
Saxon.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, Saxon the dog.
It was an Irish wolfhound. He got it off a fella in the north.
But when they got back to the house, the young one, Neve, was going hysterical, saying she could see something on the stairs. Like no one else could see it, but she could. And it was a woman, and it was looking at her. And Mrs. Walsh didn't know what to do. The hubby couldn't be contacted, and would I come down? I mean, what made her think there was anything I could do, I don't know, but she was panicking, you know. So I got in the car, and we went down. And Jesus, now, I have never seen anything like it. The young one was in bits. They had a blanket around her, and she was as white now. As white as Jack's shirt. Well, whiter, because that's probably filthy. But no messing now. She wouldn't come out of the living room because she said there was a woman on the stairs. What's the woman doing? I says. She says, just looking at me. She was terrified. Now, I didn't know whether she was after taking drugs or drink or what she was after doing. So I says to phone for Dr. Joe in Carrick. That's Joe Dillon, Valerie. You'll see him about the town. He has a surgery there by the Spar. Very nice fella. So I got through to him, and fair play to him, he was on his way. And the young one was shouting at me to close the living room door because I was out in the hall where the phone was, and she could see the woman looking at her over the banister. She was that bad now. So Mrs. Walsh phoned for Father Donal. Got him out of bed, and fair play to him, like he came down and he sort of blessed the place a little bit. Like he'd be more Vatican II, Valerie. There wouldn't be too much of the old demons or that kind of carry on with him.
Jesus, he'd collapse, you know. He's as skinny as your finger. Him and a demon, what?
But Dr. Joe gave her a sedative, and off she went then. And we all sort of had a little drink, and Mrs. Walsh was understandably very shaken and all this, but Father Donal told her not to mind the old Ouija board. It was only an old card, and it was all Neve's imagination and all this. And then
the phone rang, right? And it was the brother, the young fella, who was married and lived in the family home back in Longford. And he had his baby out of the cot, and it was crying, and he was standing by the window, and there was all this commotion next door, cars in the drive and all. And that an old one who used to live next door, and who looked after Niamh and the other sisters when they were young, and who was bedridden, had been found dead at the bottom of the stairs. She'd fallen down, and they'd found her. And, well, all right. Whatever. Coincidence. But that night, at home, I was sitting by the fire having a last fag before the sack. And, well, Jack'll know the house. The stairs come down into the main room. And I was sitting with my back to it, to the stairs. And, well, it sounds stupid now. But at the time, I couldn't turn around. I couldn't get up and go to bed because I thought there was something on the stairs. And I just sat there, looking into an empty fireplace. And I sat there till it got bright. I was like a boy, you know. Wouldn't move in case something saw me. You know, that sort of way. Wouldn't even light another fag. Although I was dying for one, but I wouldn't. Mad. But when it was bright then, I was grand, you know. I mean, obviously there was nothing there in all this, but that was the last fag I ever had. They moved away, though, then. The Walshes. Yeah.
And that was when you moved down to Carrick?
Yeah. But maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know.
Moving down into the lights. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Might be. Might be all right. Didn't want the loneliness, maybe. You know? You all think I'm a feckin' lula now. I'm the header, says you. I'm going to powder my nose, I think.
We always knew you were a headbanger. We knew it all along. Oh, yeah.
I'd imagine, though, it can get very quiet.
Oh, it can. You get used to it, though. Brendan.
Ah, yeah. You don't think about it.
You know, Brendan and me are the fellas on our own. You know, Jimmy has the mammy to look after, but we're like, you know. But you can get in here for a pint and that in the evenings. Bit of company all around. Bit of a community all spread all around the place, like.
You can put the radio on.
Do you have any plans or that for here?
Not really, no. I'm just going to try and have some...
Or peace and quiet? Well, Jesus, you're in the right place, so... You're going to have a peace and quiet overload. Oh, yeah.
Sure. You can always stick the head in here. Or Jack, or me, or whatever. Be able to sort you out for anything.
Oh, thanks. I should be okay.
Well, you're only 10 minutes up the road, and by the look of things, you'll have a job keeping Finbar away.
He's a dote.
Well, I never heard him called that before. Lots of other things, but never that.
You feckin' hares, huh? What are you talking about now, Mullen? About how 20 Germans were poisoned by the drinking here last summer, huh?
No, I'd say your place, the Arms, is where that kind of carry-on happens. You know, Valerie, you get a pint in there, I believe, will put you on your back for a fortnight.
Never mind them, Valerie, they're only jealous.
That's probably what it is, all right.
There you are now, you see. There's one person on my side.
Yeah, right, she's only sticking up for you so she'll get a lift home. After you scaring the living daylights out of her with your insistence on spooky stories.
Would you go on? It's only old headers like me get a fright like that, Valerie. Feckin' lulas.
Is anybody...
No, Jim, I'm fine. You go ahead and look after yourself.
Are you sure?
Uh-huh.
Valerie...
No, I'll get you one.
No, Valerie.
No.
You're the guest. You're the guest.
Will you have a small one, Finbar?
No thanks, Jim. I'm fine for the moment. I'll finish this pint.
Small one, Jim.
Thanks, Brendan. I'll just lash a bit of turf on the fire, will I?
Good man.
Yeah. Keep the chill out, what?
This is it.
Oh, do you want to go?
No. I'm just watching the time. We have a wedding on tomorrow.
Who's getting married, Finbar?
Do you know Nuala Donnelly? Noo, they call her. Used to work for me in the Arms. Declan Donnelly's girl. Gas young one.
Yeah.
Who's she getting married to?
Jesus. Some old fella from out the country. Must be in his 40s. Shame. A young one getting hitched to an old fella like that. Must have plenty of money.
Nuala getting married. You don't feel the time?
No.
I did a job with him, Declan. Must have been 20 or more years ago. Talking about what we were saying earlier. The priest over in Glen was looking for a couple of lads. He was down in Carrick, in the Arms. He'd come over from Glen, you know, which was an odd thing anyway. I mean, what was he doing coming all the way over just to get a couple of young fellas? But Declan Donnelly got put onto him. There was a few quid and he knocked up to me and we were to go over to the church in Glen the following day. And I remember I was dying with the flu and I had a terrible high temperature. The mother was telling me to stay on the laba, burn it off. But it was a couple of quid on the QT. So I told Declan, yeah, I'd do it tomorrow, no problem. And then the next day, it was lashing rain. I'll never forget it. He called for me in his dad's car. The smell of sheep in it like you wouldn't believe. God, it would kill you. He used to put them in the car, chauffeur them round, you know. And we drove over to Glen. And the priest took us into the sacristy. And the job, of all things, was to dig a grave in the yard. That day was the removal of the remains, and they needed the grave for the morning. And fair dues, Declan said it to him. Was there no one else around the place could have done it? And the priest got a bit cagey, and he was saying something about the local boys being busy with a game of ga or something. And the rain was pelting down, and he gave us leggings and wellies and the whole bit they had there, and a couple of shovels. And then he put up his umbrella, all annoyed and he took us out over to a grave under a tree. It was a family one, and there were two down in it already, the mother and the father. And this was going to be for the boy. Well, he was a man a middle-aged fella. But there were two down in it already, so we weren't going to have to go down for miles, So he went off to do his business and get ready, and me and Declan got stuck in. And with the rain and all, I was dying with the flu. My arms were sore, and then my legs got sore, and then my neck got sore, and I was boiling. But we got down 2.5 foot, and we took a break. We got in Declan's car, and he pulled out a bottle of poutine and a few sambos. I couldn't eat, but I took a right belt to the bottle, knocked me into some sort of shape. We just sat there for a while, listening to the radio and the rain coming down. Then we got out and we got stuck in again, having a little swig every half hour or so, keeping it going. And we saw the hearse arrive then. And the mad thing was, there were only 2 or 3 other fellas there. Of course, the removal is only a short thing mostly, But to have no one there, and for a man who's not an old man, it was funny, you know. And then that was over, and the priest came out to us. We were nearly finished, and he just cleared us for the funeral in the morning, and then he went off. So me and Declan were the only two there then, and your man was laid out in the church. And Declan went off to get a tarp to stretch over the grave, and I put a big lump of a door over it. And I was just waiting on Declan, having the last drop under the tree, and thinking we might stick the head in somewhere for a quick pint on the way back, you know. And then I saw this fella come out of the church, and he walked straight over to me. He was in a suit, so I reckoned he was paying his respects or whatever. And over he comes, through the gravestones. And he was looking around him a bit, like he didn't know the place. And he stood beside me, under the tree, looking at the grave. I didn't know what to say, you know. And he goes, "Is this for so-and-so?" I forget the name. And I go, "That's right, yeah." And he says, "That's the wrong grave." And I'm like, "No, this is where the priest said, like." And he looked at me, breathing hard through his nose, like he was holding his temper. And he goes, "Come on, I'll show you." And he walks off. And I was all like, fuck this, you know, and I was cursing Declan, waiting on him to come back. And your man turns around, you know. "Come on, it's over here." He was a lula, you know, and I was nearly climbing into the grave myself with the tiredness, and I was sick. So I followed him, just to get it over with. And he stopped at a grave, like a new enough one, a white one, with a picture of a little girl on it. And he says, sort of touched the gravestone, and he walked off back into the church. I was breathing a few sighs of relief, I can tell you. And Declan came back with the tarp, and I said, "Did you see your man?" And he didn't know what I was talking about. So I told him and all this, and we just kind of had a bit of a laugh at it, and we just got out of there. Stopped in the Green Man for a few pints on the way back, and that night my fever broke. But I was knackered. My mother wouldn't let me go to the burial. Declan did it on his own, I think. But I was laid up for a couple of days, and one day the mother brought me in the paper, and on the obituaries there was a picture of your man whose grave we dug. And do you know what I'm going to say? It was the spit of your man I'd met in the graveyard. Now, I thought first it was his brother or a relative or someone I'd met, and I forgot about it a bit, and I didn't think about it for ages, until one night Declan told me he'd found out why the priest from Glen was looking for a couple of Carrick fellas for the job. The fellow who died had had a bit of a reputation for being a pervert. And Jesus, when I heard that, you know, if it was him, and he wanted to go down in the grave with the little girl, even after they were gone, it didn't bear thinking about. You came back when you said about Declan's girl. Yeah.
Yes, Jim. That's a terrible story to be telling.
Well, you know, we've been having a few little drinks from Dick Linehan's batch, you know.
Oh, Jesus, firewater. Should that have put a hole in the glass, let alone give you hallucinations?
Do you think it was an hallucination, Jim?
God, I don't know. I was flying, like. But it was a right fluke. Him showing me where he wanted to be buried, and me knowing nothing about him, like.
Are you all right, Valerie? You're looking a bit peaky there now.
No, I'm fine. It's just, actually, is the ladies through this way?
Ah, jeez. I'll tell you what, Valerie. This is very embarrassing, but the ladies is busted. I'm getting it fixed for the Germans, but I haven't done it yet.
Jesus, Brendan, you're a terrible man.
No, I'll bring you into the house. Come on.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Don't worry, Valerie, if you're not back in 10 minutes, we'll come and get you, right?
Ah, Jesus, give it a rest, huh? Now, come on, Valerie. I'll put the lighting for you. It's out this way.
Bye now.
Bye.
Yep.
Jesus. That was some fucking story. To be telling a girl perverts out in the country, for fuck's sake.
Like your story had nothing in it, huh?
There was only out headers in it.
But you brought the whole thing up with the fairies. The fairies. She's in that house.
I forgot it was that house. I forgot it was Mara Nealon's. It was an honest mistake.
Yeah, honest mistake.
What?
Don't be giving it the old cod now.
What do you mean?
With bringing her round and all.
What about it?
Bringing her up the head and all.
Yeah?
So don't be giving it the old cod now.
What cod, Jack? I'm asking you, what?
Boys, we have a small one. Come on now.
Would you hang on a minute, Jimmy? What?
Well, you get me to tell the story about the house that she's in.
I didn't know that then. I told you that.
Whatever. Then you tell the story about the Walsh girls.
Sure, it was you who told me to say that.
What?
Talking about the fags and giving up the fags and all this when you handed them around that time.
Will you cop on with ghosts and giving up the fags?
Okay. I'm sorry. What? I regret the stories. And let's have no more of them then. That's all I'm saying,
I didn't think. I just said it with Declan Donnelly.
No, Jimmy. Nobody's blaming anybody. I regret it now. And let's have no more of them. And that's all.
Yeah, you regret it now.
Yeah?
It's not part of the tour.
Oh, come on now.
Bit of local colour.
No, Jack.
Just don't berate Jim for telling a story. After you tell him one yourself.
I apologise. If that's what I did. I'm sorry, Jim. No, I'll say that. But stop with this tour guide thing. That's not fair. That woman's moved out here on her own for some reason. There's something obviously going on in her life. I'm just trying to make it easier for her. Give her a welcome, for fuck's sake. So don't be implying anything else. I don't like it. I've apologised to Jim. And I'm saying no more stories. Sure, I'm married. I mean, really. Yous are the single boys. Sure, I can't remember the last time I saw a suit on you.
Oh, so now it's me.
Boys, come on, that's enough. That's enough of that.
You think I have intentions, is it?
Well, I don't know. You're entitled.
I do often wear a suit. Don't come in here for the first time in God knows when, thinking that we're fucking hicks, because you're from round here.
Nobody's saying that. You've got the wrong idea, Jack. And it's not worth falling out over. Now, I'll buy you a drink and that'll be the fucking end of it now, all right?
You will not buy me a fucking drink. I will buy you a drink, and that will be the end of it.
That's more like it, Ben. That's more like it.
Right, lads, what are you having? Huh?
I'm sorry, Jim.
No, stop. It's forgotten.
Finbar.
I think I'll just have a glass, Jack, I think.
And you'll have a small one with that, I think.
Oh, jeez, he's going to fucking try and kill me now, huh? He's going to try and fucking kill me, Jim.
No.
And Jim.
A small one then, thanks, Jack.
And you'll have a little pint with that, I think.
Go on.
Oh, good man. Jesus. That was a hot one there for the minute.
Well, we'll say nothing more about it. We might tell a few jokes when she comes back.
This is it. How's the mammy, Jim?
Do you know what it is? She's just old and everything's going on her.
I must get up and see her.
Yeah, I was just saying that. It'll be the time, you think, Jim?
Yeah.
So, this was all the original, Valerie, before the house.
All right.
There you are now. I thought we were going to have to send out a search party.
I was having a good nosy round.
Not too much of a state, was it?
It's tidier than I normally am.
Oh, well, that's he had the sisters round today. That's all that is.
I saw them having their lunch over in my place today.
Don't be talking.
Oh, back off there. Sensitive area, huh? Valerie, darling, I don't want you to be stranded with me here now. If I'm keeping you,
Sure, we can look after her.
I know, sure, I'm all right for a while, yes.
I, hearing about all these, stories, it's...
Well, that's the end of them now. We've had enough of them old stories. They're only an old cod. We were just joking about it there when you were out. We'll all be witless, huh? We won't be able to sleep in our beds.
No. See, something happened to me. That, just hearing you talk about it tonight, it's important to me that I'm not bananas. I mean, I'm a fairly straight, down-the-line person. Working. I had a good job at DCU. I'd gone back to work after having my daughter, Niamh. My husband teaches engineering at DCU, and we had Niamh in 1990, and I went back to work when she was 5, when she started school. And we'd leave her with Daniel's parents, my husband's parents. His mother always picked her up from school, and I'd collect her after work. And last year, she was dying to learn how to swim. And the school had a thing. They'd take the class down to the CRC in Clontarf on Wednesdays. And she was learning very well. No problem. She loved the water. She couldn't wait for Wednesdays and swimming. Daniel used to have to take her to the pool on Saturdays and everything. But for such a bright, outgoing, happy girl, she was a big... she had a problem sleeping at night. She was afraid of the dark. She never wanted you to leave the room. One of us would have to lie there with her until she went off, and even when she did, she'd often have to come in and sleep with us. And I'd say to her, "What's wrong when you go to bed?" But in the daytime, she wouldn't care. Nighttime was a million miles away and she wouldn't think about it. But at night, there were people at the window. There were people in the attic. There was someone coming up the stairs. There were children knocking in the walls. And there was always a man standing across the road who she'd see. Like there was just loads of things to pour. Now, I wanted to bring her to the doctor, but Daniel said she'd grow out of it and we should be careful just about books we got her and what she saw on the telly and all this. But, she used to even be scared that when she got up in the morning, that Mammy and Daddy would have gone away and she'd be in the house on her own. That was when she told Daniel's mother. And that all the furniture and carpets and everything would be gone. So I told her after that, that we'd never, it was ridiculous. And that if she was ever worried at all during the day, just to ring me and I'd come and get her and there was nothing to worry about. And she knew our number. Oh, she was very good at learning numbers off and everything. She knew ours, and she knew her nana's, and she knew mine at work. She knew them all. But then, in March last year, the school had a sponsored swim, and the kids were going to swim a length of the pool. And I promised I'd be in time to watch her. But I was late out of work and I was only going to be in time to meet her afterwards. But when I got there was an ambulance. And I thought, the pool is in the Central Remedial Clinic, so I thought it must just be somebody being dropped there. I didn't really pay any attention. But when I got in, I saw that there was no one in the pool. And one of the teachers was standing there with a group of kids. And she was crying. And some of the children were crying. And this woman came over, another one of the mums. And she said there'd been an accident. And Niamh had hit her head in the pool. And she'd been in the water. and they'd been trying to resuscitate her. But she said she was going to be all right. And I didn't believe it was happening. I thought it must be someone else. And I was brought into a room, and Neve was on a table. It was a table for table tennis. And an ambulance man was giving her the kiss of life. She was in her bathing suit. And the ambulance man said that he didn't think that what he was doing was working, and he didn't know if she was alive. And he wrapped her in a towel, and he carried her out into the ambulance. And I got in the back with him, and they radioed on ahead they were going to put her on a machine in Beaumont and try to revive her there. But the ambulance man knew, I think. She wasn't breathing, and he just knew. And he said if I wanted to say goodbye to her in the ambulance, in case I didn't get a chance at the hospital. And I gave her a little hug. She was freezing cold. And I told her Mummy loved her very much. She just looked asleep, but her lips had gone blue, and she was dead. And it happened so fast. It was just a few minutes. And I don't think I have to tell you how hard it was. Between me and Daniel as well. See, it didn't seem real. At the funeral, I just thought I could go and lift her out of the coffin, and that'd be the end of all this. See, I think Daniel was... I don't know if he actually blamed me. There was nothing I could do. But he became very busy in his work. You know, just keeping himself... But I was more... You know, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just walking around, wanting to... sitting in the house with Daniel's mother fussing around the place. Just months of this. Not really talking about it like. But, and then one morning, I was in bed. Daniel had gone to work. I usually lay there for a few hours, just trying to stay asleep, really, I suppose. And the phone rang. And I just left it. I wasn't going to get it. And it rang for a long time. Eventually it stopped, and I was dropping off again. And then it started ringing again for a long time. So I thought, like, it might be Daniel trying to get me. It was someone who knew I was there. So I went down and answered it. And the line was very faint. It was like a crossed line. There were voices, but I couldn't hear what they were saying. And then I heard Neve. And she said, "Mummy." And I just said, you know, yes. And she said that she wanted me to come and collect her. I mean, I wasn't sure whether this was a dream or whether her leaving us had been a dream. I just said, "Where are you?" And she said that she thought she was at Nana's in the bedroom, but that Nana wasn't there, and she was scared. There were children knocking in the walls, and the man was standing across the road, and he was looking up, and he was going to cross the road, and would I come and get her? And I said I would. Of course I would. And I dropped the phone, and I ran out to the car in just a T-shirt I slept in, and I drove to Daniel's mother's house, and I could hardly see, because I was crying so much. I mean, I knew she wasn't going to be there. I knew she was gone. It was just to think that wherever she was, that... And there was nothing I could do about it. Daniel's mother got a doctor, and I slept for a day or two. But it was... See, Daniel felt I needed to face up to Niamh being gone. But I just thought that he needed to face up to what happened to me. Now, he was insisting I get some treatment and then everything would be okay. But, you know, what can help that? If she's out there, she still needs me.
You don't think it could have been a dream you were having, no?
I heard her.
Sure, you're after getting a terrible shock, Valerie. These things can happen. Your brain is trying to deal with it. Is your husband going to come down?
I don't think so.
Ah, that'd be a terrible shame. If you didn't see him because of something as, you know, that you don't even know what it was.
She said she knew what it was.
But sure, you can't just accept that, you know. I mean, surely you have to look at the broader thing of it here.
It might have been a wrong number.
What?
It could have been a wrong number or something wrong with the phone, you know. And you think you heard it, something on the line.
But you wouldn't hear someone's voice on the fucking thing, Jim.
Just it might have been something else.
Take it easy, Brandon. Jim is only trying to talk about the fucking thing.
Ah, lad.
Now just take it easy.
Stop. I don't want... It's something that happened, and it's nice just to be here and to hear what you were saying. I know I'm not crazy.
Valerie, love, nobody's going to think that. But it's just... I mean, no one knows about these things. They're not real, even. I mean, you hear all sorts of all cod all around, but there's usually some kind of an explanation for it. Sure, Jim himself said he was delirious with the flu that time. Jim.
I had a right temperature.
Mara Nealon, sure, she used to be in here nearly every night of the week. Brendan, how much would she drink now? Be honest.
How much would she drink?
Have a bit of respect, Finbar.
I'm trying to make a point, Jack. The woman was a drinker.
We're all drinkers.
Ah, but come on. She was an alcoholic, Valerie. She'd have a bottle of whiskey put away there before you knew where you were. Sure, who wouldn't be here and knocking after that?
You're not being fair to her. The woman is dead. She can't defend herself.
I'm not casting anything on her. If she walked in that door right now, if she were alive, I'd be buying her drink, and more power to her. I hope she'd enjoy it. I'd be the first to buy her a drink. But I run a bar myself down in the Arms, and I know what a right few drinks will do to you. She liked her drop, is all I'm saying.
What about you and the Walshes?
Look, how many times do I have to say it? They were only a bunch of fucking headbangers. I got the wind put up me that night, fair enough. But that's what these stories do. And I resent that now, what I went through that night. But I was only young. That's all over with now. Fucking headbangers. And after all that, I'm ignoring the bigger thing. I'm very sorry about your daughter, Valerie. I'm very sorry indeed.
Oh, we all are, of course. We are. It's terrible.
I'm going to have to go, I'm afraid. I don't want to, but...
Okay.
Here. I'll leave her down.
But you might want to come on now, no?
Have another drink. Relax for a little while.
Yeah. I think I'm just going to hang on for another little while.
You're going to go easy on them old stories now.
Stop being an old woman. She'll be grand.
All right.
She'll be grand.
Could I get a lift from back?
Of course you can, Jim.
Are you all right for Father Donald's car in the morning?
No problem. I'll be there about 9:15.
Yeah, just I have to get over to Conor and Boland, you know.
Well, Valerie,
It was very nice to meet you.
I'm very sorry about what happened to you. I'm sure your girl is quite safe and comfortable, wherever she is. And I'm going to say a little prayer for her, but I'm sure she doesn't need it. She's a saint. She's a little innocent. And that fella I saw in the churchyard that time was just the rotten putchine and the fever I had. Finbar's right. You enjoy your peace and quiet here now, and we'll see you again. You're very nice. Good night now.
Good night. Thanks, Jim.
That's all right.
Valerie,
Thanks for everything.
it's my pleasure, darling. And I'll call up to you now in the next day or so, and
Fine.
we'll make sure that you're all right and that you're settling in with us. You're very welcome.
Thanks for everything, Finbar.
That's quite all right. Men,
Finbar.
I'll see you again soon, I hope, Jack. All right.
I'll see you soon.
Brendan,
Take it easy, Finbar. Look after yourself.
I won't leave it so long next time.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night, Jim.
See you soon.
Yeah, I'll see you in the morning.
9:15.
Uh-huh.
See yous now.
There we are now. I'm sorry about snapping just then.
No, sure.
I think it was my fault.
Would you go on? Of course it wasn't your fault. I mean, it's all very well us sitting around and fecking around with these old stories, but then when something personal like that has happened to you, people deal with it in different ways, and Jim was only,
Yeah.
he didn't mean anything.
He didn't really mean there was anything wrong with your phone. I don't think.
Oh, no. It's a terrible thing that happened. Do you ever get over something like that, I wonder? I don't mean the phone call,
I know. I don't know.
We're very sorry.
Come on, we'll sit near the stove. It's getting cold. Have a last one, I think.
Good idea.
Valerie, give us your glass there, Jack. Small one for the road.
Can I get this one?
It's on the house.
no.
Now, bar's officially closed. Go on.
You get yourself in here now, Valerie.
Right.
And we'll be grand in a minute.
I'm going to give you a little brandy, Valerie. This wine is freezing in the fridge.
Good man.
Oh, lovely. Thanks.
Good girl. That's it now. Oh. God, Jim will be in a bad way all the same when the mammy goes. What do you think, Brendan?
Oh, definitely. She's been very sick for years, Valerie. Fading fast, like for years now. She still spoils that boy rotten, huh? No.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah.
That's an awful lot.
That's not really.
Well, now, there's no law that says you have to drink it all. Your man just put it back in the bottle.
Would you ever fuck off?
Now, I think that we should drink this one to you, sweetheart.
Ah, yes. To Valerie.
Hope it's all in the end.
Cheers.
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 Well, Valerie, there's the bye.
You've no children, Jack, no.
No, darling, I never married, but I do be on this fella to be on the lookout, not to end up like me.
Do you wish you had married?
Sure, who'd have me? A cantankerous old fucker like me.
You right.
No, it's a thing. I mean, I do say it to Brendan. I'm down in that garage, and the fucking tin roof on the thing, on my own, on that country road. It was bypassed by the main road into Carrick, and there's no, with the roof in the summer, it's like an oven with the heat, and if it's not that, it's the rain pelting down on it like bricks, the noise of it. And there you'd be, the only car calling in to be someone who knows the area real well, and you definitely feel it but, you get in here for a pint and that in the evening. Lot to be said for the company, huh, Brendan? And, someone there. Oh, yeah.
Did you never consider it when you were young?
Oh, sure, yeah, of course I did. Sure, what the hell else does a young fella be thinking about, huh? I mean, Brendan knows. I had a girl. I had a lovely girl back then. We were courting for 3 years, 1963 to 1966. But she wanted to go up to Dublin, She would have thought that that's what we should have done. I don't know why it was a thing with me that an irrational fear, I suppose, that kept me here. And I couldn't understand why she wanted to be running off up to Dublin. But she did in the end anyway, and she was, working up there, waiting for me to come. But with me it was a mad thing that I thought it was 1,000 fucking miles away. I hated going up. Well, I mean, I went up a few times, but I was only going up for, I mean, she had a room, freezing, damp place. Jesus, I was a terrible fella. It got that's all I was going up for, I couldn't stand being away. I don't know why. I get all excited about going up for the physical, the freedom of it. And then, after a day and a night, and I'd had my fill, we'd be walking in the park, and I'd be all catty and bored and moochy, breaking the poor girl's heart. You get older and you look back on why you did things, and you see that sometimes there wasn't a reason. You do a lot of things out of pure cussedness. Yeah. I mean, I stopped answering her letters, and I'd fucking dread one coming to the house, and her in it wondering how I was, and was there something wrong with the post. I don't know what kind of carry-on I was up to. I just left her out. Being the big fella. Me dad handing over the business to me, and me swanning around, a man of substance, huh? And then I had the gall to be resentful when she wrote and said that she was getting married to a fella. And I was all that it was her fault for going up in the first place. Oh, there was a delegation of people from all around here going up on a bus to the wedding, and I was just one of the crowd, just one of the guests in my suit, and the shoes nearly polished off me, and a hangover that you wouldn't believe. I've been up till nearly 5, swilling this stuff and staring into the fire, and we all on the bus at 9. And all the chat all around was why she hadn't come home to get married, and me as sick as a dog. Oh, the smell of brill cream of all us culchies sitting in the church in Phibsborough, and her lovely nurse friends and their guard boyfriend. She was marrying a guard, huge fella, shoulders on him like a gorilla. And they were coming down the aisle after. This is true. They were coming down the aisle afterwards, and I caught her eye, and I gave her the cheesiest little grin you've ever seen in your life. A little grin as if to say, enjoy your big gorilla, because the future's all ahead of me. And she looked at me as if I was just one of the guests at the wedding. And that was it. And the future was all ahead of me. Years and years of it, you could feel it coming, all those things that you have to face on your own, all by yourself. And, of course, you brave it because you're showing everybody what a great fella you are altogether. But I left that church like a little boy, and I walked away. I couldn't go to the reception. I just kept walking. And there was a light rain, and I just kept walking. And then I found myself in town. God, it was a dark day, like there was a roof on the city, you know, and I found myself in this little labyrinth of streets with nothing much going on. And I ducked into this bar, a little dark place, Brendan, with one or two others there. And a barman like yourself, huh? You know, businesslike and dutiful. And I put away a pint or two, and a small one or two, and I sat there looking down at the dirty wooden bar, and the barman asked me, was I all right? Now, it's a simple little question, and I said I was. And he said that he would make me a sandwich. And I said, okay. And I nearly started crying, because here was someone just, you know, and I watched him. And he took 2 big slices off a fresh loaf, and he buttered them carefully, spreading it all around. I never forget this. And then he sliced some cheese and some cooked ham and an onion out of a jar. And he put it all on the plate, and he sliced it down the middle. Get that down, you know, he said. And, you know, someone doing this for me. And I picked up the sandwich, and I could hardly swallow it for the lump in my throat. But I ate it all down. I ate it because someone that I didn't know had done this for me. Now, it was a small thing, but it was a huge thing for someone in my condition. And it fortified me like no meal I have ever had in my life. And I went to the reception, and I was suitably ashamed of myself. There was a humility that I have tried to find since, but, you know, goodness wears off. It just gets easier to be a contrary old bollocks. Down in the garage, spinning small jobs out all day, taking hours to fix a puncture. It stops you thinking about what might have been and what you should have done. It's like looking away, like I did at the reception. You see, Brendan, you should only catch someone's eye for the right reason. And I will tell you, Valerie, there is not one morning that I don't wake up with her name in the room. And I do behalf this fella, don't I, huh? Yeah. Well, I may be on my way now.
Will you be okay in that wind?
Ah, Jesus, I should know that road by now, says you, huh?
I'll get you the torch.
Brendan, am I a moaner?
As well fucking worse, I'll tell you.
You hear that? Well, now, that wasn't a ghostly story, at least anyway, huh?
No.
No, we've had enough of them. Listen, we'll all be ghosts soon enough. Yeah, we'll all be sitting here drinking whiskey all night with Maura Nealon, huh? But you know, this has been a strange little evening for me.
For me as well.
Fuck, we could do worse. It was lovely meeting you.
Oh, you too.
And I didn't mean to go on there.
Oh, no,
you know,
please.
Just something about your company. Inspiring. Huh? Oh, and this, of course. You know, I don't know if being out here in the country is the best place for you to,
Why?
Well, I mean, a young girl like you, listening to all us old headers talking about the fairies and having all your worst fears confirmed for you, ghosts and angels. I mean, fuck it, I won't have it. I won't have someone like you been upset by it, because you have had enough to deal with. For fuck's sake. Give me a hand, Valerie. I'm very sorry, love, about what happened.
Thanks.
These batteries are a bit weak. Come on, I'll drop you.
Are you sure?
Sure, I'm giving Valerie a lift.
Come with us.
Okay then. Grand. Oh, I think I'll have a last fag before we go. Anybody else for
Oh no, I won't.
No, I'm grand.
well then, I won't bother, because up early in the morning I've got to go over to Conor Boland's. He's over the other side of Carrick. He has about 15 fucking kids. Dirty bollocks. And you should see her. She's built like a fucking tractor. The head on her.
You're a terrible man.
Now, I've had my moments.
Will you be in here again soon?
I'll be in and out. I have to keep the place afloat at least.
Don't mind him now, Valerie. Him and the Jimmy fella will be fierce scarce around here the next few weeks.
Why?
The Germans will be coming. They love it in here.
You don't like that?
He thinks they're too noisy.
Well, you don't know what they do be saying or anything.
Him and the Jimmy fella be sitting at the bar. Big sour pusses on them, giving out like a couple of old grannies.
Now, listen, we're not that bad.
You're like a pair of bloody old ones. You should see them.
Where'd you go instead?
There's a little place down in Carrick called the Pot.
There does be just as many of them down there. Don't be cutting yourself.
Well, it doesn't seem as bad down there now.
Oh, that's because this is your place.
I see Valerie sticking up for us now. She's defending us. It is I tell you, it's out of respect for this place.
It is in my fucking Barney respect. The two of yous leaving me, standing behind this bar, with my arms folded, picking my hole and not knowing what the hell is going on. And them playing all old 60s songs on their guitars. They don't even know the words. Nothing for me to do, except pull a few pints. Watch the shadow from the knock moving along the floor with the sun going down. I'm like some fucking mentler. And they'll be watching it creeping up on the Germans, and they don't even notice it. I must be cracking up if that's my entertainment of an evening.
Don't be moaning. I tell you what. Listen, yeah. If Valerie is willing to come in and brave the Germans, then I think that Jim and myself will come in and keep his company. How's that, huh?
You'll grace us with your ugly mushes, will you?
Don't push it now. Don't push it. Sure, listen, what am I saying anyway? We'll have Finbar in here every night sniffing around after Valerie.
Oh, no, stop.
No, he'll be like a fly in a big pile of shite, so we will. Oh, God, that came out all wrong, didn't it? No.
No.
Huh?
That was perfect, as usual.
No, couldn't have come out worse. I know, I apologize, I'm sorry.
Would you relax?
Please, let me say I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. But would you anyway?
What? Come in with the Germans?
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me.
Now, you see, I think that is the right attitude. Stay with the company and the bright lights.
Do you see my keys?
Sure, I might even learn some German.
Oh, I don't know. Are they from Germany, Brendan?
What?
The Germans. We do call them the Germans.
Is this them?
Yeah, thanks. Are we right?
Where are they from, Brendan? Is it Norway or Denmark? I know it's somewhere like that.
I don't know where the fuck they're from.
In The Weir by Conor McPhearson, Jim Norton was Jack, Brendan Coyle was Brendan, and Kieran Ahern played Jim. Finbar was Des McAleer, and Julia Ford, Valerie. The Royal Court Theatre's production of The Weir was directed for radio by Ian Rickson and produced by Jonquil Panting.